GR IAS Academy.
Good evening all. Am I audible? Okay. Yeah. So in the last class, okay, we discussed about the Palampur village. So we have the description of Palampur village. So in the last class we discussed about the description of Palampur village, and okay, so here in the last class I have raised a question about, so in the given land, so in whatever the land, okay, the land is fixed, so in the fixed land, okay, share. Okay. So in the last class, okay, in the previous class, what we have discussed is there is a way one can grow more land from the land. So here, so within the given land, so whatever the land that is existed, with the same amount of land, can we grow more? Okay, so that means can we generate more income with the same land? So is it possible? So we have different ways to generate more income from the same stipulated land. So you can see here what, okay, so in the rainy season, that it means in the Kharif season, we are growing different crops. In the Rabi season, we are growing different crops, and okay, so whatever the crops we have grown, whatever the leftover plant over is there, wastage, okay, that we are using as a cattle field. So that is what, okay, here we have done. And in yesterday's class we discussed, is there is any other way, okay, is there is any other way to grow the crop, to generate more income from the same stipulated land. So that is what we have discussed. Okay, so I have raised the question for you. So can anyone answer? Okay, with the same land, can we produce more, can we generate more income? Okay, so here there is a option here, that is multiple cropping. So what we can do with the help of multiple cropping, we can grow with this, okay, so we can generate more income from the multiple cropping. So we can grow with the multiple cropping. So within the same, so that means in the same land, what we can do, we can we can cultivate different crops, okay, in the same, okay, simultaneously we can cultivate different crops, so that what we can do, we can generate more income. So for multiple cropping, so we have these requirements: well developed system of irrigation, electricity and electric current tables. So tube wells, okay, electric current tube wells. So you can see, so in the multiple cropping, so in order to have the multiple cropping, so what we require well developed system of irrigation. So irrigation system will be, okay, so here you can see on the screen here, so you can see they are growing different crops in the same land, okay, in the same land, what they are doing, they are growing different crops, so that what we can do, we can generate more income. So within the same stipulated land, so by doing multiple cropping, so what we can do, we can, okay, generate more income. So for generating more income from multiple cropping, so that means we have certain requirements for multiple cropping, that is well developed irrigation system and electric tube wells, okay, electric current tube wells and electricity. So these are the requirements. Tube wells are required, proper irrigation facilities should be there, so that what we can do, we can grow more crops. Okay, so we can produce more, and what we can do, we can generate more income from the multiple cropping. So that is also a way to generate more income from the same land. And one more is there, okay, so you can see here, so you can see, okay, the other way to increase farming by using modern farming methods. So what we can do, we can increase the productivity here. So in the last class, what we have done, in the past, multiple cropping, in the multiple cropping, by growing different crops at the same time, okay, that means simultaneously in one piece of land, so we can generate more income. So along with that, what we can do, by using the modern technology, so we can grow more crop within the same stipulated land. So that means what we can do in 1 acre of land. So earlier if we are producing 40 bags, by modern technology we can increase the production levels from 40 to 50 or 60 like that. So that has happened, okay, in the mid 1960s. So before that I want to say a story of independence. So at the time of independence, okay, so this is what we are talking about green revolution. Actually we are talking about the green revolution. So when it comes to green revolution, modernization of agriculture sector is called green revolution. So why we have adapted green revolution? That means why we have adapted modern technology into the agriculture sector. So what happened with the traditional technology, that we'll discuss first. So at the time of independence, so during the British period, okay, when we look at the during the British period, so what they have done, they have commercialized the agriculture sector. Okay, they have commercialized the agriculture sector. So that means commercialization means, okay, producing the crop for purpose of selling, not for the purpose of consumption. So earlier, that means before the independence, okay, before the British period, okay, before the British rule, so we used to produce the goods and services for sake of consumption. Okay, that means, okay, so we used to cultivate the crops for the sake of consumption, not for the sake of selling. Okay, so what happened? So during the British period, what Britishers have done, okay, so they have commercialized the agriculture sector. So because of their policies, because of British policies, what happened? Our agriculture sector has been commercialized. Okay, earlier, okay, farmers, they used to produce crops for sake of consumption. Now because of commercialization, okay, because of commercial policies introduced by the Britishers, now they started producing the crops for sake of selling, not for the purpose of consumption. Okay, so that is what happened. So due to commercialization of agriculture sector, so we are producing the crops, okay, that means commercial crops, okay, like cotton, jute, okay, those kind of crops we are producing, and we are ignoring the food grains. Okay, we ignore the food grain production. So when we ignore the food grain production, so slowly, okay, so food deficiency has been erased in the country. Okay, so what the farmers are doing, farmers are cultivating only commercial crops, they are not cultivating consumer crops like food grains. So they are cultivating only commercial crops. So due to that factor, what happened? So there was food deficiency in the country. And also Britishers, they did not encourage the industrial sector in our country. Okay, they did not encourage the industrial sector. So what they have done, so whatever the policies they have implemented in our country, okay, that favors British industrialists, not the Indian industrialists. So whatever the policies they have introduced, all the policies like taxation policy, export import policy, so all those kinds of policies encouraged British industries, not the Indian industries. So because of that, Indian industrial sector has been collapsed. Okay, especially the handicraft sector has been collapsed. And also because of industrial revolution, okay, so Britain, okay, England is the first country to experience industrial revolution. Okay, they have industrialized themselves. Okay, industrial revolution in the sense, okay, the transformation of, okay, production process from handmade to machine made. Okay, industrial revolution is nothing but transformation of production process from handmade to machine made. So that means earlier we used to produce the goods and services, okay, with the help of hands, with the help of bare hands. Now what the Britishers has done, they started producing the goods and services with the help of machines. Okay, so as we are producing the goods and services with the help of machines, okay, so the cost of production has been reduced in the case of machine made goods and services. Okay, when it comes to the handmade goods and services, so the cost of production is high because we are producing the goods and services at low scale in the case of handmade goods and services. But when it comes to the machine made goods and services, we are producing in large scale due to economies of scale. So the cost of production is low in the case of machine made goods and services. So due to that reason, what happened, British goods and services are cheaper and Indian goods and services are costlier, because we are producing goods and services with the help of hands and Britishers are producing goods and services with the help of machines. So because of this reason, British goods and services are cheaper and Indian goods and services are costlier. So due to this factor, what happened, okay, so due to this factor, okay, there was more demand for the British goods and services and there is less demand for Indian goods and services. So that's how industrial sector has been completely collapsed in our country. Okay, due to that factor, industries has been closed. Okay, so British goods and services are cheaper. People are demanding only British goods and services, not the Indian goods and services. So because of that factor, Indian industrial sector has been completely collapsed. So when industrial sector has been completely collapsed, so that means what? Okay, so the people who are working in the industrial sector has lost their jobs. Okay, so the people who are working in the industrial sector lost their jobs and they shifted, okay, for livelihood again from industrial sector to, okay, agriculture sector. Okay, this phase is called deindustrialization phase. Okay, so we call this particular phase as deindustrialization. So this is also one of the important concept, okay, you need to know. Okay, deindustrialization. Okay, so during that period of time, okay, so during this period of time, that means during British period, you can see entire world is industrializing. Okay, entire world, okay, especially all the European countries, if you observe the entire European countries, all the countries are industrializing. But what happened, our country is deindustrialization. It is shifting from industrial sector to agriculture sector. So entire world is moving from agriculture sector to industrial sector, but our country is moving from industrial sector to agriculture sector. So that particular phase is called deindustrialization. Okay, so during that period, because of deindustrialization and because of commercialization of agriculture sector, okay, the food grain production has been decreased in the country. Okay, and okay, one more thing is that, okay, we are using traditional technology in the case of production of crops. Okay, we are using traditional technology. We are not going with the modern technology. So we are going with the traditional techniques. Due to, okay, traditional techniques, what happened? So the food production has been declined. And one more factor is that, okay, during the British period, so if you look at the land system, okay, if you look at the land settlement system, so we have three types of systems. So Zamindari system, Mahalwari system, Riyatwari system. Okay, so that means during British period we have three types of land systems, that is Zamindari system, Mahalwari system and Riyatwari system. In all these systems, okay, Britishers has divided land into small plots and distributed to the farmers for sake of cultivation. So they used to collect taxes from the lands, whatever the lands that they have distributed, okay, so from that they used to collect the tax. So the most common one is Zamindari system. In the Zamindari system, that means in most parts of the world, so we can see the Zamindari system, okay, even in the Hyderabad state, okay, earlier, okay, so we have Hyderabad constituency. So there, okay, if we observe, okay, so we have Zamindari system in our, okay, Hyderabad. So in the entire Hyderabad, so what we have Zamindari system. So Nizams were ruling at that time. So Hyderabad, so what Zamindari system was existed. So when we look at the Zamindari system, so the entire land was distributed, okay, in the entire land was divided into small plots and distributed to the Zamindars. That Zamindars, okay, what they used to do, they used to divide into very small parts and they distributed to the farmers, and farmers used to cultivate the land, whatever the crop they have produced, out of that certain portion, okay, so certain portion has to be paid in the form of tax to the Zamindars. Okay, what the Zamindars used to do, out of the total tax, okay, that they have collected, some portion they retained with them and rest of the portion they distributed to the government, British government. Okay, so that is what is the system. Okay, we are not going, so we in the further classes we have whole concept of this Zamindari, Mahalwari and Riyatwari system. There we are going to discuss very deeply. But here when it comes to these kinds of systems, Zamindari, Mahalwari and Riyatwari, so in all the cases, So what happened? Britishers, they divided the land into very small parts and they distributed to the farmers. Okay, due to fragmentation of this land. So we are fragmenting the land, that means we are dividing into small parts. So due to fragmentation of land, the productivity has been fallen. Okay, the production and productivity levels has been fallen in the country. Okay, so it is very clear for you. So what? Due to fragmentation of land, we have divided the land into very small parts. So due to division of land into very small parts, you can see here. Okay, so how much land is wasted over here? Okay, you can see here in the figure here, somewhere around here you can see. Okay, so you can see, so they have divided into small plots. Okay, so the boundaries for each land, there are boundaries. Yeah, you can see. Okay, it has been divided into small plots, you can see here. Okay, if you observe how much land is wasted over here, you can clearly understand this. Okay, in the cultivation, so in the cultivation process, so you can see for each person there is boundaries. Due to boundaries, what happened? So most of the land has been went under boundaries. Okay, so due to this factor, you can see this whole land is wasted. Okay, so it will not come under cultivation. So due to that factor, what happened? Due to fragmentation of land, so okay, for each person there will be boundaries. Okay, so most of the land will be went into the boundaries. So due to that factor, what happened? Production and productivity levels are fallen. Okay, so that's how, okay, we became food deficient country. And one more reason is that, okay, so we have partition. Okay, so at the time of independence, you can see what happened. So India is divided into two parts, Pakistan and India. So due to partition, most of the fertile land went to Pakistan. Okay, so due to partition, so we'll see here. Yeah. So due to partition, okay, so most of the land went to, most of the fertile land, I am talking about the fertile land, not about the percentage of land. So most of the fertile land went to the Pakistan. So due to that factor again, so we don't have fertile land because of infertility of land of our country. So the production levels are fallen in the country. So that's how what happened. We earlier, that means, okay, before independence, before the British rule, so we are food surplus country, and at the time of independence we became food deficient country. Okay, so this is how we became food deficient country. So when we become food deficient country, so the aim of the government, so what will be the aim of the government? So the government try to increase the production and productivity levels in the country. So partition valla emaindi, okay, production anedi taggindi. పార్టీషన్ వల్ల ఫర్టైల్ ల్యాండ్ అంతా పాకిస్తాన్కి వెళ్ళిపోయింది. ఓకే, అన్ఫర్టైల్ ల్యాండ్ అంతా ఇండియాలో ఉంది. సో అన్ఫర్టైల్ ల్యాండ్లో కల్టివేట్ చేయడం వల్ల ప్రొడక్షన్ అండ్ ప్రొడక్టివిటీ లెవెల్స్ అనేది తగ్గిపోయింది. కమర్షియలైజేషన్, అగ్రికల్చర్ సెక్టార్ని బ్రిటిషర్స్ ఏం చేశారు? కమర్షియలైజ్ చేశారు. దానివల్ల ఫుడ్ గ్రెయిన్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అనేది తగ్గిపోయింది. సో దానివల్ల ఫుడ్ డెఫిషియన్సీ అనేది వచ్చింది. అండ్ ఓకే, సో అదే పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ టైంలో అంటే ఇండిపెండెన్స్, డ్యూరింగ్ ద ఇండిపెండెన్స్ పీరియడ్, ఎస్పెషల్లీ ఫ్రమ్ 1930s to 1947, ఇఫ్ యూ క్లియర్లీ అబ్జర్వ్, దెర్ ఆర్ ఫెమైన్స్ అండ్ డ్రాట్స్. ఓకే, సో 1930s నుంచి 1947 వరకు మనం క్లియర్గా అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే ఎన్నో ఫెమైన్స్ వచ్చాయి. దాంట్లో ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వచ్చి గ్రేట్ బెంగాల్ ఫెమైన్. ఓకే, సో 1934లో వచ్చినట్టుంది అది. ఓకే, గ్రేట్ బెంగాల్ ఫెమైన్. సో అక్కడ కూడా చూడొచ్చు మనం ఏమైంది. సో ఫెమైన్స్ అండ్ డ్రాట్స్ వల్ల ప్రొడక్షన్ లెవెల్స్ అనేది చాలా వరకు తగ్గిపోయాయి. అండ్ జమీందారీ సిస్టమ్ వల్ల ఏమైంది? ల్యాండ్ ఫ్రాగ్మెంటేషన్ జరిగింది. దానివల్ల ప్రొడక్షన్ లెవెల్స్ అండ్ ప్రొడక్టివిటీ లెవెల్స్ అనేది తగ్గిపోయాయి. సో ఇప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ యొక్క మెయిన్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ ఏముంటుంది? సో ఎట్ ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ ఇండిపెండెన్స్, బై ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ ఇండిపెండెన్స్ వీఆర్ ఫుడ్ డెఫిషియంట్ కంట్రీ. ఓకే, సో ఎర్లియర్ వీఆర్ ఫుడ్ సర్ప్లస్ కంట్రీ. సో ఎట్ ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ ఇండిపెండెన్స్ we became food deficient country. So due to various factors, whatever the factors just now we have discussed, due to all those factors, what happened? So we became food deficient country. So the objective of the government is to increase the production and productivity levels. So till 1960s, okay, So till 1960s, what the government has done, the government has tried, so they went for various measures to increase the production levels. Especially they went for the land reforms. So they went for the land reforms like abolition of zamindari system, tenancy reforms they have brought, land ceiling act, and also consolidation of land holding acts. So these are the various land reforms that has been brought by the government of India after the independence. So after the independence, the government has brought various land reforms, and they tried to increase the production and productivity levels, but due to loopholes or due to failure of those policies, production and productivity levels has not increased in the country. So the government went for the green revolution. The government tried to modernize the agriculture sector. So what the government has observed, due to traditional technology that we have adapted in the case of agriculture sector, the production and productivity levels are very low. So due to that factor, what the government has done, the government tried to modernize the agriculture sector. So that is nothing but green revolution. In the green revolution, what we are doing, we are simply modernizing the agriculture sector. Earlier, whatever the traditional technology we have adapted, we transformed our agriculture sector to modern technology. By like what, we started using various tools and equipments, modern tools and equipments, that we'll discuss here. So in 1960s, the seeds used, till the mid 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones with relatively low yields. So we used to cultivate traditional seeds earlier. Earlier we used to cultivate traditional seeds. So due to that, we have low yields, that means low productivity. Traditional seeds need very less irrigation. So they need very less irrigation, that means irrigational facilities are not that much required when compared to the modernized seeds. So and also farmers used cow dung and other natural manure as fertilizers. So earlier what they used cow dung and natural manure as fertilizers. The green revolution in the 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat, rice using high yield variety of seeds. So under green revolution, so what the farmers has done, the farmers has started using high yield variety of seeds for cultivation of crops. Earlier they used traditional seeds. So when they use the traditional ones, so they are getting low yields, there is low productivity. Now to increase the productivity, so what the farmers are doing, the farmers are using the high yield variety of seeds. So high yield variety of seeds were introduced by MS Swaminathan. MS Swaminathan in 1960s, in the period of 1960s. So especially in 1964 we can see MS Swaminathan, he introduced, that means he is the father of green revolution in our country. So he has modernized our agriculture sector. So he is considered as father of green revolution in India. So in the entire world, Norman Borlaug, Norman Borlaug, he is the father of green revolution in the entire world. So after that, so by saying Norman Borlaug, so MS Swaminathan is an assistant of Norman Borlaug. So whatever the high yield variety of seeds, so that were introduced by Norman Borlaug, was taken by the Swaminathan and he has introduced in our agriculture sector. So so that's how he became the father of green revolution. So during that period of time, so the green revolution, the modern techniques were adapted by the government. So during that period of time, so in the government, if you look at Lal Bahadur Shastri, so Lal Bahadur Shastri is the prime minister. Lal Bahadur Shastri is the prime minister, and Chidambaram Subramaniam. Chidambaram Subramaniam is the Minister of Agriculture. So during that period of time, Congress is ruling the government. So Congress is ruling the government. So under Congress leadership, you can see, okay, Lal Bahadur Shastri is the Prime Minister and Chidambaram Subramaniam is the Minister of Agriculture during that period of time. So in their terms, okay, so you can see, okay, MS Swaminathan, he has introduced high yield variety of seeds. So that's how, okay, our agriculture sector has been modernized. So we have adopted green revolution in the country. So during the period of Lal Bahadur Shastri. Yeah. So if you look at the green revolution, so it is very clear, you can see, okay, HYV seeds promised the producer with much greater amounts of grain on a single plant. Okay, so high yield variety of seeds. So by using the high yield variety of seeds, what we can do, we can increase the, okay, production levels. That is, okay, on a single plant, what we can do, we can produce more output. So that means the productivity levels are increased. Okay, we can increase the productivity levels with the help of high yield variety of seeds. And next, when it comes to high yield variety of seeds, okay, they consume more water. Okay, sorry, here you can see they use plenty of, okay, water, chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So when it comes to the high yield variety of seeds, so we need to use plenty of water. So water requirement is more, that means we require more irrigation facilities. Okay, irrigation facilities should be, okay, that means more irrigation facilities are required for the high yield variety of seeds. And okay, so chemical fertilizers and pesticides has to be used. So earlier we used cow dung and natural manure as fertilizers. Now what we are doing, okay, so due to modernization of agriculture sector, we are using chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Okay, so that's how you can see we have increased the production and productivity levels. Okay. Okay, so you can see high yield variety of seeds. Okay, so that means they require more water, chemicals and chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Next, if you look at, okay, high yield variety of seeds were, okay, high yields were possible only from a combination of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So what we can increase the productivity only with the combination of HYV seeds, so irrigation, that means water supply, chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So with the combination of all these things only, what we can do, we can increase the production and productivity levels in the country. So due to adoption of green revolution, you can see in the Palampur village, so if you observe, okay, by using the traditional technology, so they are producing 1300 kg per hectare. Okay, so earlier, that means in the Palampur village only you can observe, so those who are using the traditional varieties of seeds, okay, they are able to produce only 1300 kg per hectare. But by using HYV seeds, okay, the yield, that means the production levels are went to 3200 kgs per hectare. So that means in green revolution, so the same thing was happened in the entire country in 1960s. So as the government has introduced the high yield variety of seeds, okay, the production and productivity levels are rapidly increased. So due to that, what happened, earlier we were food deficient country. Due to adoption of green revolution, so we became food sufficient country, food sufficient country. So that was the thing you need to clearly understand that. So earlier, before the adoption of green revolution, we are food deficient country because of various factors. But due to adoption of green revolution, so even though so we have faced many adverse weather conditions during that period of time. So even we faced adverse climatic conditions, so the production levels are rapidly increased in the country due to adoption of green revolution. So due to adoption of green revolution, so the productivity and production levels are rapidly increased. You can see, you can clearly observe, okay, in the Palampur village itself, okay, so when they are using the traditional varieties, they are able to produce only 1300 kg per hectare, but now, okay, by adapting the modern technology, so it went up to 3200 kgs per hectare. Okay, so the scientific reports indicate modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. Okay, but due to green revolution, okay, the production and productivity levels are increased. Okay, so we transformed our economy from food deficient country to food surplus country. But even though, so we transformed to food surplus country, so what happened? Okay, you can see all the scientific reports, what they are stating the negative effects of the, okay, green revolution. So whatever the, okay, so earlier, okay, so by adoption of green revolution, so the soil fertility has been decreased. Okay, so as we are using more content of chemical fertilizers, pesticides and insecticides, okay, so the fertility of soil has been decreased. So that problem, so when we adopted green revolution in the 1960s, after the 1960s, okay, so 1960s to 1980s period, okay, green revolution was very popular, but okay, due to that, what happened, we are seeing the negative impacts of green revolution in the present scenario. Okay, in the present scenario, what we are doing, we are facing the problem of, okay, negative effects of green revolution in the present case. So that was going on. You can see even now what we are doing, we are using more chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So according to the reports, according to the scientific reports, okay, almost 30% of the, okay, food is contaminated by fertilizers. So that means, so whatever the food we are in, okay, we are taking, okay, so whatever the intake of food, so whatever the food we are in, okay, we are taking, so in that 30%, okay, we are consuming fertilizers only. Okay, we are consuming, okay, 30% of fertilizers in the food. So that's, okay, that's the reason. So you can see, okay, so the lifespan, okay, so that means life expectancy is falling of the people. So that's why we are not healthier. You can see, if you observe, okay, the old age people, okay, if you observe the old age people earlier, okay, they used to stay up to 80s and 90s. Okay, now, okay, so so people are dying at the early age itself. Okay, like 50s or 60s is more than enough now. Okay, but earlier they used to survive till 80s, 90s. Okay, so that was there, and you can see they are very much stronger than us. So day by day, what generation is becoming weaker and weaker. So because of this factor only. Okay, that we need to observe. Green revolution is associated with loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemicals. Just now I repeated. So what, due to over usage of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, so what, soil fertility has been losing. So we are losing the soil fertility. So when we lose the soil fertility, so again the same problem we are going to face. So next, also continuous use of groundwater from tube wells has led to depletion of water table. So if you observe, so high yield variety of seeds, that means HYV seeds require more water. As HYV seeds require more water, so people, okay, what they are doing, they are using the underground water. So due to over usage of underground water, what happened? Okay, so water levels has been decreased. Okay, underground water levels has been decreased, that we can see. And chemical fertilizers provide minerals which dissolve in water and are immediately available to plants. Okay, so whatever the chemical fertilizers we are using, okay, that can be easily dissolved into water and that can be, okay, immediately available to the plants. Okay, so the chemical fertilizers, whatever the chemical fertilizers we are using, okay, so that easily dissolves in the water and okay, plant easily gets the requirements, whatever the requirement is there, the plant will get the easy requirement. But that means you can see, okay, due to chemical fertilizers, so that are dissolving with the plant, okay, so plant is consuming the chemical fertilizers, so whatever the production we are producing in that, okay, so the food is contaminated with the chemical fertilizers. That is also problem we are facing that. Okay, just now I stated 30% of the food is contaminated by chemical fertilizers. Yeah. Next, if you look at, yeah, but these chemicals will not retain in the soil for long period. Okay, these chemicals are not, okay, these chemicals will not retain, okay, in the soil for long period. Due to that, okay, soil fertility is going to be decreased. The main escape from the soil and pollute groundwater, rivers and lakes. So whatever the chemicals, okay, so chemical fertilizers that we have used, okay, that will not stay on the ground, so they will escape from the soil and pollute groundwater, rivers and lakes. Okay, so it will dissolve in the water. So when the water flows from, okay, one crop to another crop, or okay, it will reach to the rivers and it will join in the rivers. Due to that, rivers will be contaminated, lakes will be contaminated, and even groundwater will be, okay, contaminated because of okay, so this factor. And chemical fertilizers can also kill good bacteria and other microorganisms in the soil. So chemical fertilizers, whatever the chemical fertilizers we are using, okay, that will even kill the good bacteria, so which is essential for the crops, okay, that has been killed by the chemical fertilizers. This means after some time of their use, the soil will be less fertile than even before. So that means constantly, if we are using the chemical fertilizers, okay, when we use the chemical fertilizers constantly for a long period of time, so what happens, soil fertility will deplete, okay, so further, okay, even before, like earlier whatever the fertility levels are there, okay, so that will be decreased to very worst level. So that is what, okay, chemical fertilizers will do. So the same problem, so whatever I said, so during the green revolution, due to over usage of, okay, chemical fertilizers, pesticides and insecticides, now the fertility of soil has been decreased. So due to that, we are not able to produce, okay, more crop. Okay, that is the problem we have faced. So that's the reason you can see in the Sri Lanka, okay, in the Sri Lanka we have faced with the, okay, so the government has introduced the organic farming in their country. So when they introduced the organic farming, suddenly what happened, so they stopped usage of chemical fertilizers. So if you observe the soil, the fertility of soil has completely decreased because of continuous usage of chemical fertilizers. Okay, సో అప్పుడు శ్రీలంకలో ఏమైంది, కంటిన్యూస్గా కెమికల్ ఫర్టిలైజర్స్ అనేది ఓవర్ ఏ పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ టైం యూజ్ చేశారు, దానివల్ల సాయిల్ ఫర్టిలిటీ అనేది తగ్గింది. ఇప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చేసింది, సడన్గా ఓకే ఆర్గానిక్ ఫార్మింగ్ని ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేసింది. సో ఆర్గానిక్ ఫార్మింగ్ని ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేయగానే సో ఏమైంది, ఫర్టిలిటీ లెవెల్స్ అనేది లో ఉండేసరికి ప్రొడక్టివిటీ అనేది చాలా తగ్గింది. సో అది పెద్ద సీరియస్ ప్రాబ్లం అయింది శ్రీలంకకి. సో శ్రీలంకన్ క్రైసిస్ రావడానికి అది కూడా వన్ ఆఫ్ ద రీజన్. ఓకే, సో ప్రొడక్షన్ లెవెల్స్ అనేది సడన్గా పడిపోవడం, సో వాళ్ళు ఫుడ్ ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసుకోవడం, ఫుడ్ ఎఫిషియన్సీ అనేది ఎరేజ్ అవ్వడం, సో ఇట్లాంటి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అనేది ఫేస్ చేశారు. ఓకే, సో శ్రీలంకన్ క్రైసిస్కి కూడా ఈ యూసేజ్ ఆఫ్ కెమికల్ ఫర్టిలైజర్స్ అనేది వన్ ఆఫ్ ద రీజన్. ఓకే, సో యూ కెన్ సీ దాట్. నెక్స్ట్, ల్యాండ్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ ఇన్ ద Palampur. So if you look at the land distribution of Palampur village, so again you can see the description of Palampur village over here. So total we have 450 families in the Palampur village. So out of that 150 families are landless. So that means these people 150 families, okay, so they also depend, already we discussed that 70% of the population are dependent on agriculture sector in the Palampur. Okay, so in the Palampur 70% of the population are dependent on the agriculture sector. So earlier we have discussed. So now you can see out of total 450 families, okay, 150 families are landless. Okay, most of them are, okay, that means out of this, okay, if you observe 70% of the, okay, 150 families are agricultural laborers. Next, 240 families cultivate small plots of land less than 2 hectares in size. Okay, so that means what? Okay, so 240 families are small and marginal scale farmers, and 60 families you can see medium and large farmers. So they have more than 2 hectares of land. So 60 families have more than 2 hectares of land. Okay, so 240 families have small, okay, these are the small farmers, small and marginal farmers. Okay, so 60 you can see medium farmers and large farmers. So their land holdings is more than 2 hectares of land. Yeah. Okay, so if you look at land holdings, you can see, okay, so here they have given land holdings, okay, size of land holdings, okay, so below 1 hectare of land is called marginal farmer, okay, below 1 hectare land holdings unte వాళ్ళని ఏమంటాం marginal farmers అంటాం, 1 to 2 hectares ఉంటే వాళ్ళని small farmers అంటాం, 2 to 4 hectares ఉంటే semi medium farmers అంటాం, 4 to 10 hectares ఉంటే medium and 10 above ఉంటే large farmers. Okay, so according to the size of holdings, okay, you can see we have the classification of farmers into marginal, small, medium, and medium and large scale, okay, large farmers. So this is how, okay, you can see the classification of farmers has been, okay, done according to the size of land holdings. So if you look at the Palampur village, you can see, okay, 150 families, okay, 150 families are landless, okay, 60 families are okay, medium and large scale, okay, large farmers, and rest of the families are, okay, small and medium, okay, that we can see. Next, yeah, small farmers along with their families cultivate their own fields. So what are the small farmers? So the small farmers, okay, they cultivate lands, okay, with the help of their family members, okay, they use family members, okay, so with the help of their family members they will cultivate their own fields. Medium and large farmers will hire laborers to work on their fields, okay, so medium and large farmers, okay, the persons, okay, that means they are holding more than 2 hectares of land, okay, so the families who are holding more than 2 hectares of land will hire the farm laborers, okay, already you know 150 families are, okay, landless, so that 150 families, okay, were hired by the medium and large farmers, okay, for sake of agriculture. So the farm laborers come either from landless families or families cultivating small plots. So you can see, so those who are holding less than 2 hectares of land, okay, they are also working as, okay, daily laborers, farm laborers in the, okay, large size holdings. So you can see for them they are working due to heavy competition for work among the farm laborers in Palampur, so the people agree to work at lower wages. So due to, okay, you can see there was huge competition, that means 150 families are landless, and also, okay, small size holdings are, okay, very large, okay, so 60 families are they are holding less amount of land. So you can see the competition is more in the case of farm laborers. So as the competition is more, you can see supply of farm labor is more. So when supply is more, the price will be lower. So you can see as the supply of laborers is more, okay, so the wage rate is low in the case of Palampur village. Next, medium and large farmers hire, okay, same farm laborers to work on their field. So these medium and large farmers are hiring farm laborers. The farm laborers come either from landless families or families cultivating from small plots. So the same thing was repeated over here. Due to heavy competition, okay, so the same thing was repeated, okay, due to, okay, higher supply of farm laborers, so the wage rate of, okay, so these farmers is very low. So the capital, okay, the capital needed in farming. So you can see the capital which is needed in the farming. So most of the small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for their capital. So you can see most of the families are small and marginal farmers, okay. So in the Palampur village, so you can see small and marginal farmers, small and marginal land holdings is more, okay, most of the families are small and marginal farmers. So for the small farmers, Okay, so in order to cultivate the crop, so whatever the investment they have to make, that investment will come from borrowing. Okay, they have to borrow money for arranging their capital investment in the agriculture sector. That means in order to cultivate the crop, okay, so where they will get the money? They will get the money from borrowings, because they are small farmers. So due to, okay, small size of land holdings, so they are unable to make more income. So due to lack of income, so they are investing, okay, for the cultivation of land from the borrowing. From borrowing, they are cultivating the crops. So they borrow the money from large farmers of the village, or money lenders, or the traders who supply various inputs for cultivation. So you can see where they are borrowing. Small farmers are borrowing money from either from large farmers or from money lenders. So who are money lenders? Okay, these money lenders, okay, they are supplying various of inputs for the cultivation. So you know the problem. Okay, so in our country also what happens? So the same thing. So this depicts, okay, the Palampur village exactly depicts our Indian economy. So Palampur economy exactly will depict our Indian economy. So you can see, okay, small farmers, we have more of the small farmers, and that small farmers are dependent on, okay, money lenders. In our country also the same thing is there. Okay, so the small and marginal farmers are more in our country, so they depend they depend on money lenders for, okay, for cultivating the crops. So in order to cultivate the crops, they dependent more on the money lenders. Okay, so due to various reasons, okay, that we need to ignore. Okay, money lenders, okay, you can see as money lenders are lending loans. So you know the problem of the money lenders. Okay, already I think you know about it, so we need not to discuss it because of lack of time. The rate of interest on such loans is very high. So what the money lenders are doing? The money lenders are charging exorbitant interest rates. Okay, that means they are charging huge interest rate on the, okay, borrowings. They are put to great stress to repay the loan. So money lenders are putting, okay, so they are collecting huge, okay, interest rate, and they are making stress of the small farmers. So that's why you can see due to money lenders itself, okay, so most of the farmer suicides has been taken place. Okay, farmer suicides has been taken place because of the burden of debt. Okay, so they are filling in the debt trap, so they are unable to come from the debt trap. So due to, okay, this reason what happened? So farmer suicides are more in our country. Okay, so farmer suicides are more in our country, that we can observe. Okay, so they are filling in the debt trap. How they are filling in the debt trap? So like example you can see, okay, so they require 1 lakh rupees to cultivate the crop. So they have taken 1 lakh investment. Okay, they have borrowed 1 lakh from the money lenders, and they have cultivated the crop. So when they have cultivated the crop, you know that our crop is completely dependent on monsoon. Okay, our agriculture sector is completely dependent on the monsoon. So if there is good rainfall, what happens? The productivity levels will be higher. Okay, so if the productivity levels are higher, that means if production is higher, so they can able to make 1 lakh rupees. If not, they are not able to make the 1 lakh rupees. So when they are not able to make the 1 lakh rupees, so they have to repay they have to repay this 1 lakh rupees. So like you assume that due to lack of rainfall, or due to famines, or due to some reason there was crop failure. So due to crop failure, so what happened? They have lost 1 lakh rupees, and now again to cultivate the crop they have to take 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so to repay this amount. So as they have small and marginal farming, so you can see now they have to repay 2 lakhs along with the interest rate of old 1 lakh rupees. So you can see along with the interest rate of both the 1 lakh rupees, and they have to pay the 2 lakh rupees along with that interest rate they have to pay. So this is how they are. Again what happens? Okay, if there is crop failure again, so the same thing will repeat. So this is how you can see their debt will increase. Due to increase in debt, they will fall in the debt trap. They are unable to get out of it. So due to this factor, you can see as they are unable to repay the loan, so they are committing suicides. Okay, the farmer suicides were more in our country, so we can observe that. In contrast to small farmers, large and medium farmers will have their own savings. So if you look at the large farmers, so they have their own they have their own savings. Okay, so with the help of their savings they will cultivate. Okay, so they are able to arrange their own capital, whatever the investment that is needed for cultivation of crop. Okay, they can arrange by their own ways. So as they can arrange by their own ways, so it is easy for them to cultivate the crops, so there is no problem for them. But for small farmers, okay, so in order to cultivate the land, so it is much difficult for them. Okay, so that is the problem we are facing here. You can see. Okay, so next one is food security. Okay, the next concept is food security. So earlier, okay, so we have discussed about the green revolution. Okay, so in the past topics we have discussed about the green revolution, and you can see we also discussed about the polypod description. Okay, now we are moving on to the food security in India. So if you look at food security, what is food security? Food security means what? Availability, accessibility and affordability of food to all the people at all times. Okay, that means what? Okay, so food security means what? Okay, the availability, accessibility and affordability of food to all the people at all times. So in all times, okay, even it might be in worst times, okay, whatever the time it might be, okay, even in the worst times, okay, what? So if all the people are able to get the food, okay, if they have access and if they can afford the food, okay, that means if they are able to buy the food, so then it is called food security. Okay, so food security means simply what? Availability of food, accessibility of food and affordability of food to all the people in all times. So whatever the time it might be, okay, it might be the worst time or it might be the good time. So for everyone, okay, if the food is available or if they can access the food or okay, so if they can afford the food, okay, so then it is called what? Food security. So the food security of the country depends on the public distribution system, government vigilance and action at times when the security, okay, is threatened. So how food security? So the availability of food, accessibility of food and affordability of food is completely dependent on the public distribution system, government vigilance and okay, so action that is taken during the security threatened. That means during the worst times, okay, due to okay any, like you can see at the time of any natural calamities or any other things, so the food is available to all the people, then it is called food security. So the food security is dependent on the government, that is government's public distribution system and government vigilance. Now you can see food security is ensured in a country. So how we can say that a country is food secured country? So with the help of these points, okay, if enough food is available for all the persons, okay, all the persons have to have the capacity to buy food of acceptable equality. There is no barrier to access food. So if you have all these points, okay, so if we qualify all these points, so what we can say? We can say that particular country is food secured country. So we need to have enough food for all the people, okay, at any time, okay, for all the people. If there is enough food is available for all the people, and so if they are able to purchase, that means the capacity of the people to buy the food, and there should be no barriers for the people to purchase the food. So in all these cases we can say that a country is food secured country.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Sir, can you repeat once again food security in India?
Food security. So what is food security? Simply, okay, just a second. Yeah, so you can see food security. Okay, what is meant by food security? So you can see availability of food, whether the food is available to the people, accessibility, whether they access the food, so they have the sources, okay, whether they have the sources to access the food, okay, that we need to see, and affordability, okay, so the capacity of the people to purchase the food. So if we have all these three things, we can say that okay, so a country is food secured country. Okay, so you can see the same thing. If enough food is available to the people, so like example, if you have 100 people in the country, okay, if you have 100 people in the country, so if food is available to 100 people, okay, so if enough food is available to 100 people, so we can say that a country is food secured country. Okay, so accessibility, so whether they have access to the food, okay, so that means is there any barriers for them to access the food? Okay, they are easy, okay, they need to be, that means okay, easy availability of food. Okay, ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది అంటే అవైలబిలిటీ అంటే ఎనఫ్ ఫుడ్, అందరికీ ఓకే సరిపోయేంత ఫుడ్ అవైలబుల్ ఉందా కంట్రీలో. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ యాక్సెసిబిలిటీ అంటే అందరికీ ఫుడ్ అందుబాటులో ఉందా. ఓకే, సో అందరూ ఫుడ్ని కొనుక్కోగలుగుతున్నారా, అంటే వాళ్ళకి సోర్సెస్ ఉందా, ఫుడ్ పర్చేస్ చేయడానికి ఏమైనా సోర్సెస్ ఉందా. ఓకే, సో అందరికీ ఈజీగా అవైలబుల్ ఉండాలి ఫుడ్. ఓకే, సో అంటే ఫుడ్ పర్చేస్ చేయడానికి ఎటువంటి బ్యారియర్స్ అనేది ఉండకూడదు. ఓకే, అండ్ అఫోర్డబిలిటీ, సో వాళ్ళు అఫోర్డ్ చేయగలుగుతున్నారా ఫుడ్ని. ఓకే, సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ప్రైజెస్ దట్ ఆర్ ఎగ్జిస్టెడ్ ఎట్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ ప్రైస్ ఆర్ దే ఏబుల్ టు పర్చేస్. ఓకే, సో ఇఫ్ దీస్ త్రీ థింగ్స్, ఓకే, ఒకవేళ ఈ త్రీ థింగ్స్ కనుక సాటిస్ఫై అయితే మనం ఆ కంట్రీని ఏమనొచ్చు, ఫుడ్ సెక్యూర్డ్ కంట్రీ అనొచ్చు. ఓకే, సో ఫుడ్ సెక్యూర్డ్ కంట్రీ అని ఫుడ్ సెక్యూర్డ్ కంట్రీ అని ఎప్పుడు అంటాము, సో ఎప్పుడైతే అవైలబిలిటీ ఉంటుందో ఫుడ్, ఓకే, అందరికీ ఫుడ్ అవైలబుల్ ఉంది, ఓకే, సో ఏ బ్యారియర్ లేకుండా వాళ్ళు ఫుడ్ని పర్చేస్ చేయగలిగితే, అండ్ ఆల్సో ఓకే యూ కెన్ సీ దే హ్యావ్ అఫోర్డబిలిటీ, సో వాళ్ళు ఫుడ్ పర్చేస్ చేసే కెపాసిటీ ఉంటే, అందరికీ ఫుడ్ పర్చేస్ చేసే కెపాసిటీ ఉంటే, అప్పుడు మనం ఏమంటాం, ఆ కంట్రీని ఫుడ్ సెక్యూర్డ్ కంట్రీ అని అంటాం. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్. అండ్ ద ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ, ఓకే, సో ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ అనేది దేనిపైన డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది, పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్ పైన, గవర్నమెంట్ విజిలెన్స్ పైన, అండ్ యాక్షన్ ఎట్ టైమ్స్ వెన్ ద సెక్యూరిటీ ఈస్ థ్రెటెన్డ్. ఓకే, సో ఏదైనా hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. ఓకే, సో ఇక్కడ ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ దేనిపైన డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది, సో గవర్నమెంట్ యొక్క ఇప్పుడు పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్ పైన, గవర్నమెంట్ విజిలెన్స్ పైన, అండ్ గవర్నమెంట్ తీసుకునే యాక్షన్ ఎప్పుడైతే ఓకే లైక్ ఎనీ ఎకనామికల్ డిస్టర్బెన్సెస్ కానీ న్యాచురల్ కెలామిటీస్ వచ్చినప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ తీసుకునే యాక్షన్స్ని బట్టి ఓకే దానిపైన ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ అనేది డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, సో ఫస్ట్ పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యు లుక్ ఎట్ ద పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్, ఓకే, సో గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది అంటే అందరికీ ఫుడ్ అవైలబుల్గా ఉండాలి. ఓకే, యాక్సెసిబిలిటీ అనేది ఉండాలి అండ్ అఫోర్డబిలిటీ ఉండాలి. సో దానికోసం అని గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్ ద్వారా ఎవరికైతే ఫుడ్ అవైలబుల్ లేదో సో వాళ్ళకి ఏమవుతుంది, ఫుడ్ అవైలబిలిటీ అనేది తీసుకొస్తుంది. అంటే లైక్ సింప్లీ వాట్ ద గవర్నమెంట్ విల్ డూ, ఓకే, సో ఫ్రమ్ వేర్ ఎవర్ ఓకే ఫుడ్ సర్ప్లస్ ఈస్ దేర్ ఫ్రమ్ దట్ స్టేట్స్, ఓకే, గవర్నమెంట్ విల్ procure the food. Government will procure the food from food surplus countries, food surplus states or else from food surplus people. ఎవరి దగ్గరనైతే ఫుడ్ సర్ప్లస్ ఉంటుందో వాళ్ళ దగ్గర నుంచి ఏం చేస్తుంది, గవర్నమెంట్ ప్రొక్యూర్ చేసుకుంటుంది. చేసుకొని ఫుడ్ డెఫిషియెంట్ ఉన్న దగ్గర డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ అనేది చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, సో అలా అందరికీ ఫుడ్ యాక్సెసిబిలిటీ అనేది అందరికీ వచ్చేలాగా చేస్తుంది. అండ్ ఎనఫ్ ఫుడ్, ఓకే, అందరికీ సరిపోయేంత ఫుడ్ అవైలబుల్గా ఉండేటట్టు గవర్నమెంట్ పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్ ద్వారా చేస్తుంది. అండ్ యూ కెన్ సీ అఫోర్డబిలిటీ. సో అఫోర్డబిలిటీ, అందరికీ అఫోర్డబిలిటీ ఉండదు కాబట్టి గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్ ద్వారా ఎట్ లోవర్ ప్రైజెస్కి పీపుల్కి సప్లై చేస్తుంది. సో దీని ద్వారా ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీని ఓకే అచీవ్ చేయడానికి గవర్నమెంట్ ప్రయత్నిస్తుంది. ఓకే, గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీని అచీవ్ చేయడానికి పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్ ద్వారా ఓకే పీపుల్కి ఫుడ్ యాక్సెసిబిలిటీ, ఓకే అఫోర్డబిలిటీ అండ్ ఓకే అవైలబిలిటీ అనేది ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తుంది. సో అలా మనం ఏమవ్వచ్చు, ఫుడ్ సెక్యూర్డ్ కంట్రీ అవ్వచ్చు. ఓకే, సో ద ఎయిమ్ ఆఫ్ ద పబ్లిక్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ సిస్టమ్ ఈజ్ ఓకే టు మేక్ ద కంట్రీ ఏ ఫుడ్ సెక్యూర్డ్ కంట్రీ. Okay, so that is what. And even at the time of okay security is threatened, that means at the time of worst cases, in the case of worst situations, what the government will do, okay, so the government will do and the worst situations ఉన్నప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఓకే, సో ప్రొక్యూర్ చేసుకుంటుంది. ఎక్కడైతే సర్ప్లస్ ఉంటుందో అక్కడ ప్రొక్యూర్ చేసుకొని బఫర్ స్టాక్స్ని మెయింటైన్ చేస్తుంది. So there are various things, okay, in the next slides we'll discuss that. Okay, so you can see, okay, this is due to green revolution you can see ikkada manam chudochu food grain production. Okay, since the advent of green revolution in the early 90s, the country has awarded famine event during adverse weather conditions. Okay, green revolution valla 1970s లో adverse conditions ఉన్నప్పటికీ కూడా ప్రొడక్షన్ లెవెల్స్ అనేది ఇంప్రూవ్ అయ్యాయి. India has become self-sufficient in food grains during the last 30 years because of variety of crops grown over the country. Okay, so over the country ఏమయ్యాయి, వెరైటీ ఆఫ్ క్రాప్స్ అనేది గ్రో చేయడం జరిగింది. ఎందుకంటే గ్రీన్ రెవల్యూషన్ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేయడం వల్ల లాస్ట్ 30 yearsలో ఫుడ్ గ్రెయిన్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ అయ్యి మనం ఏమయ్యాం, ఫుడ్ డెఫిషియెంట్ కంట్రీ నుంచి ఫుడ్ సఫిషియెంట్ కంట్రీకి కన్వర్ట్ అయ్యాం. సో ఇఫ్ యూ లుక్ ఎట్ ద చార్ట్ యూ కెన్ సీ ఇన్ 1960s we are producing only 80 million tons of food grains. Okay, so by the 2016 and 17 you can see we are able to produce 275 million tons of food grains. Okay, so you can see that drastical change, okay, from 80 to 108, 130, 176, 196 million, 245, 259, okay, so 257, 65 and it went on to 275 million tons per hectare. 276 million tons. Okay, so you can see okay the drastical change okay due to green revolution. So okay, so earlier we are producing only 80 million tons, okay, due to adoption of green revolution. So the food grain production has been increased. Okay, that we can clearly observe over here. Okay, so that's how you can see okay the production levels are increased in the country. Next in the next slide. So the availability of food grains at the country level has further been ensured with the careful design of food security system in the government. Okay, so the government has ఓకే డిజైన్ ఏ ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ సిస్టమ్. గవర్నమెంట్ ప్రాపర్గా ఒక ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ సిస్టమ్ని ఓకే ఏం చేసింది, డిజైన్ చేసింది. ఓకే సో ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ ఓకే దేనిపైన డిపెండ్, ఓకే ఫుడ్ ఇన్సెక్యూరిటీ చూడండి, పూరెస్ట్ సెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ద సొసైటీ అండ్ అబోవ్ ద పవర్టీ లైన్ డ్యూరింగ్ ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ డ్రాట్స్. ఓకే ఫుడ్ ఇన్సెక్యూరిటీ అనేది ఎక్కడ రైజ్ అవుతుంది, పూరెస్ట్ సెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ద సొసైటీ దగ్గర రైజ్ అవుతుంది అండ్ అబోవ్ ద పవర్టీ లైన్ డ్యూరింగ్ ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ డ్రాట్. సో హూ ఎవర్ ఆర్ staying above the poverty line okay for today we'll close it. In tomorrow's session we'll continue. Okay yeah చెప్పండి
Sir, do you think the delays of food security?
so we'll discuss in the next class. Okay.